right, good morning, everybody. Welcome
Morning.
to Friday Team Call. Let's get this show on the road here. It is straight up top of the hour, so got some folks joining in, but we're going to get this started. Get a couple settings changed here. All right, welcome. Hoping everybody's having a great week. Let's hit some leaderboards. Get my ducks in a row here. All right. So for the week, let's make sure everybody stay on mute. See if you're accidentally hitting your button, make sure you turn that back off. So, all right. Leaderboard's top. Well, actually, we had a new rider this week. Let's go ahead and give a shout out to Angel Gooding. 2 applications. $1,445 direct to John Paul. Congratulations, brand new rider. She was actually number 10 on the week. So welcome to the team. 2 applications in already. And as I understand, probably some more in the works. So congratulations. You got a business started. All right. So Angel was number 10. Terry Myers, number 9 with 7 applications. $3,619 direct to Stella. We had James McKeon, 5 applications, $3,805 direct to Mr. John Paul Vetter. Donna Bates, 4 applications, $4,125 direct to Spencer Cushion. We had Eric Sullivan, 3 applications, $4,224 direct to John Paul. Mr. John Paul Vetter himself, 2 applications, $4,480 direct to myself. Mark Roberts, 3 applications, $4,570 direct to John Paul. Mr. Andy McKinley in the number 3 spot, 2 applications, $4,682 direct to myself. And the top 2 battling out. The ladies are battling out. It was a close race. Number 2, Miss Stella Dinwiddie, 7 applications, $6,443 direct to myself. Edged out just barely by Miss Jenny Gray, 11 applications, app count lead and APV lead. 11 applications, $6,807 direct to John Paul Vetter, and just edged out Miss Stella. So a great week. Congratulations, Jenny. All right, guys, we're also going to do a new feature here, kind of the cumulative leaderboards for the month so far. Now, again, we still have the rest of today to get turning in. So this is the last turn-in day for the month. This is the end of February. Can't believe it already. But you still have midnight Eastern to get business in to count for this month. In fact, actually, that reminds me, a quick shout out. I almost overlooked this, but last week after our team call, typically we have applications coming in, and Spencer Cushion went out, wrote an application for $1,096 after leaderboards last week. So congratulations, Spencer, for that last minute business. And I know we've got a lot that will be coming in today. But as of right now, leaderboards, we're just do top 10 leaderboards for the month to date, and then we'll have the final month next week on the call. But top 10, we have Lionel Anderson, 7 applications, $6,958. Terry Meyer, 17 applications, $8,963. Stella Dinwiddie, 12 applications, $9,427. Eric Sullivan, 8 applications, $10,085. Donna Bates, 12 applications, $11,510. Eva Bowman, 14 applications, $12,635. Spencer Cushion, 14 applications, $14,289. Top 3 so far on the month. Andy McKinley, 13 applications, $26,205. Jenny Gray, 32 applications, and she is actually leading on app count. Great job, Jenny. 32 applications. Now that's awesome. Love to see that. $26,575. And number 1 of the month so far, Mr. John Paul Vetter, 14 applications, $33,419. All right, but that's month to date. We still have the rest of today. So Don't let up the gas. Friday afternoon, Friday evening is a great time to get some additional business in, so take advantage of that. And let me pull up a couple of announcements here. You guys, I'll post again today. Don't forget about the Tiny Hearts Challenge. We're trying to raise as much possible as we can for the Mary Washington Hospital NICU. That's a charity that Jacob Pogue is supporting, and we're supporting him in that. So I'll throw that link, excuse me, up on Crew again after the call. But do go in again. Anything helps. If you can do a couple bucks, if you can do $10, if you can do $100, doesn't matter. Every dollar adds up. So get that. Share that too. Share that with friends and family. Give everybody a chance to help out some little ones that need an extra boost to get started in life. So conference, guys, conference. We have that coming up on March 24th, 25th. Get it on your calendars. Get signed up if you haven't. Get people signed up. And guys, again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this morning, but one of the things I want to have you think about, for a lot who come here, the idea of building an agency is one of the attractions. So if you want to build an agency, my question to you is, how much passive income do you want every month deposited into your account? That's your number. I mean, and I'm breaking down to monthly, because sometimes we hear these annual numbers and it's kind of a little bit too big to process or think about, or maybe even conceptualize. So how much a month? Is that $2,500? $2,500 a month passive outside of what you're doing? Would that make a difference in your family's life? If so, get at least 5 people there. 5,000? Get 10 people there. Again, it's your number. How much passive income do you want coming in outside of your production? 10,000? Better get 20 people there. How do we invite? Well, it's easy. Ask. But take it a step further, guys, as you're asking, as you're having these conversations. So number one, everybody you're interviewing, if you're running ads and you're doing regular interviews, I would be making this, one of the contingencies for joining your organization is you must attend conference, because you really don't want to be spending time with somebody that's not going to attend conference and can't commit to that, because you're going to be wasting their time and your time both. So I would be making that an expectation, and I would be helping them sign up. So one of the things that we really haven't talked about, and I think it's intuitive, but it still needs to be said, you don't have to wait for them to go in and sign up. While you're on the phone with them, you say, hey, listen, what email do you want me to put you under? Let me go ahead and get you plugged into the system. You pull it up, you put them in, you sign them up. Take control of that process and help them get signed up, okay? You can put it on them. Maybe they'll sign up, maybe they won't. But if you want to make sure they're signed up, you help them through that process, okay? So that's all I'm going to cover on that this morning. Just, again, think about your business and your future. This is your opportunity to plant a lot of seeds that are going to sprout big for you with the number of people that you have attending conference. So, guys,
Chris, can I add those color comments? Chris, can I add some color commentary?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I should have actually had it on my notes and just buzzed right past that. I need both John Paul, Stella, if you have any announcements or any input on either of those, feel free to hop in, and we're getting ready to launch
sorry about that. And right as you did that, I think I got a delivery and my dog started barking, so I apologize. But yeah, so especially for the new folks on the call, because we have so many, I can't overstate the importance of conference. And again, you may not know all the answers yet about the system and who we are and what we do, but you have to lean on the system and Symmetry culture and those of us in the company who have a story to tell until you have your own, right? So make sure that you're getting these people registered for conference, because that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting and kind of painting a picture for folks as to the opportunity that we have in front of them, and let the system work for you. Let folks learn from what they hear from somebody that's speaking, air quote, from stage, right? And obviously in person, somebody on stage, but on a virtual conference, whoever has the mic, so to speak, right? But it's going to be this kind of conference is not something that you're probably accustomed to from a corporate perspective, where you have, pretty much a boondoggle and everybody's got to go, and you go because you have to, because your boss said so, right? This is a completely different scenario where these are folks at the top of this company who are the top leaders, the top producers, people that have been doing this for years ahead of us on this journey, of some of you and some of us. And these people have a significant deep 6-figure or even 7-figure income. And I'm not talking about 103,000 and I got a 6-figure. I'm talking about deep to mid, bordering 7-figure, or even some of them into the 7-figure incomes. And they're doing the same thing that you're trying to do. They just got a head start. They're just a little further down the runway with you, using the same system, the same business model, the same leads, the same everything that you have access to. So if you really want to mitigate your learning curve and expedite your path to success, you'll want to be on this conference to hear from folks, all of these conference calls, every Wednesday national call, and make sure you get as many other people there as possible that can answer the questions and fill in the blanks where you may not be able to quite do that yet. If you find somebody who's wired the right way, they're going to see this thing for what it is, and you're not going to be able to stop them. And if you find people that aren't really the right way, there's not going to be anything you can do to help them. It's just as simple as that. It has to do with 3 things that you can't teach anybody. That's attitude, work ethic, and drive. And again, your why and your fight and your grit has to be stronger than your excuses and your quit. You're looking for people that are wired that way. This conference and these meetings, the trainings and such, especially the conference, is going to have people at the top of this game helping to answer questions and to speak life into everybody that's on that call to help you get there faster. And that's the beautiful thing about Symmetry's culture. So again, make sure you're registered. You've got everybody else registered. Share the link, get people signed up, and let them see what the opportunity is. I mean, that's really, I want to just add that additional color commentary there, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd like to just, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Stella. I was going to ask if you had anything to add. And
absolutely. And I would just, love to ask all of you, brand new here on here right now, who was on the national call this Wednesday? Raise your hand. How many of you learned off of that national call about the schematics of how many people out there need us versus how many of us aren't actually out there helping them, the need for us? So imagine that on a much larger scale is at our conference, our national conferences. So what you got out of the national call this last Wednesday from people who've already done it, who've already succeeded, who are still in the process to becoming a Waylon Marshall or, a Jacob Pogue, all these people, you're going to get more of that, and you're going to be able to translate that to somebody new who, maybe you started out and you've seen the opportunity, or maybe you've just started the opportunity, you've seen what everyone else has done, then, that you can leverage what they're going to hear at that conference. So you're not trying to explain it all. So that's the beauty of that. And I just want to give a friendly reminder that, you hear us talk about numbers, as far as, 6-figure income, and all that's great, but we know it's not always, it's not about the money. But the reason that we bring that into the picture is because the numbers don't lie. Like all the numbers that you hear us being posted each week, it's all what we do. And you can have that. And, Danny Young once said that, the people come here for the money, but they stay here for our culture. And so when you plug in more, you're going to see that. So that's all I wanted to say, Chris. Thank you so much for letting me share that.
No, that's a great ad. And I will say, I actually, I should have mentioned this earlier, but I talked with Scott Mank yesterday, I believe it was, the day before. Actually, I've talked to him the last couple of days. He's actually, they're doing a lot of pre-production. And when I say pre-production, the reason I want to bring that up is this is not going to be a cheesy little, a Zoom call. Guys, this is a professionally produced, the production company that they're working with is this is going to be like a movie set. And so, so the reason that's important, if you're going to be inviting friends and family, you want to know that you're inviting them to a quality product. And I guarantee you, this company, if you and most people haven't been, or a lot of people, so I shouldn't say most people, a lot of people haven't been to a live conference. This company spares no expense on the quality of the product that they put out. And that's important because it has to be engaging. It has to be something that people watch and want to be a part of, and they understand that. So it's not about fluff. It's not about pomp and circumstance. It's about putting out the very best quality product they possibly can to give you the most value in the folks that you're bringing to that event. So, so anyway, and I know Scott, and I keep twisting his arm, but I can't get him to cough up the goods. There's going to be some big things coming out, and he's talking about this being a game changer for everybody who is here, financially, professionally, success. I mean, and he's not one to hype that kind of thing. For him to say that, and again, for him to say he's been sworn to secrecy, but basically telling me to make sure that I don't miss it, which he knows I won't, but to make sure that we get as many people on that line as possible. That's critical, guys. So again, I just want to make sure that everybody understands. You haven't been to one of these, and I get it. It's like, okay, yeah, this is an event, whatever. This is an important event, the most important event that we do all year, and I want you to know that the investment in the quality is beyond anything that you'll ever see. So. So without further ado, let's jump into some meat in the conversation. So what, and I actually shot a text out here to John, Paul, and Stella to get their input on what we wanted to talk about. And one of the things that every team deals with, and everybody deals with in this business, is it's kind of the struggle in the business. So getting started. Or if you've been around, maybe you're kind of stuck in the mud spinning your wheels, or maybe, we all hit these times, even if you're running at a high level, there are weeks, sometimes months where it's just, holy cow, like I couldn't do this more wrong if I tried. It just seems like the wheels are falling off. And so how do we get back to level? How do we square things back up and get back on track? So that's what we're going to talk about. And guys, take some notes this morning, because I'm going to keep this as very simple as possible. This is, at its core, this business is very simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And too many times what I see is the reason why people don't advance, either off the starting line or they get in and then they all of a sudden start floundering, is they're trying to overcomplicate it, trying to make it into something that it's not. And it's a very simple process. And if you break it down to the very nuts and bolts, and then just work the crap out of those nuts and bolts, I guarantee you'll have success. But sometimes we got to hit the reset button, or sometimes we got to hit the start button. So let's talk about that. And I'm going to address it in kind of two different phases. If you're brand new, you're ready to get started, or maybe you had your license and it's been a few weeks and you still haven't got off the line. Let's talk about what it take to get started, and then we're going to transition to, because it's the same concept. If you've been here a while, or you've hit a rough patch and things are grinding to a halt, how do we get restarted again? So getting started, guys, again, we're going to keep this simple. Step number one, focus on just one product. So what I see a lot of times is somebody comes in brand new, they're excited, they're ready to get going, but we start having conversations, and I hear, yeah, I'm going to get leads, I'm going to get started, but I'm studying products, and I'm through one carrier, but I still have 4 more carriers to go. That is the worst thing that you can do. So focus on the fundamentals, and so we have a lot of products that we can sell. So we have mortgage protection, we have final expense, we have advanced market life insurance, IULs. We have supplementary products, disability, critical illness, critical injury, little stuff like dental and vision plans. Guys, we have high-level concepts like retirement planning. There's a lot to this business, and to be quite frank with you, you will be studying for the rest of your career here. You will not ever know it all, because we have, gosh, in total, and I didn't realize it was this high. I knew we had multiple companies, but on the call the other day, they said we have up to 80 some different companies that we could do business with potentially if we needed to. Now, we won't do business with all those companies. In fact, we have a very small basket that we do business with. But if we had to, for certain special circumstances or whatever, we could. The point there being is you will not learn everything there is to know about this business, period. And because as soon as you learn it all, there will be new products and services coming out. In fact, I just got an email yesterday. Forrester's has a brand new product that just rolled out. Brand new accidental product. Okay. That happens all the time. So if you're brand new, I'm going to tell you right now, if you think you're going to sit down and learn the book, stop, because you're never going to get started. You're going to spend your time. In fact, I haven't told this story very much, but I started out, I actually was in the insurance business many, many years ago, right out of college. I actually started with one of the big names, Prudential. And we spent, and I don't remember the exact time frame, it was at least a month, probably more like 6 to 8 weeks studying product before we even got started in the sales concept. And that's the old model, guys. That's the old model where you sit around and you study and become subject matter expert on everything. And the problem is, you know too much. In other words, you know too much to actually help the clients, because it's not about what you know. Yeah, we got to have product knowledge, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But it's more about the client and what they need, and it's more about making that connection with them. So one of the biggest things that I see that people fail to get started, and it's actually something we all deal with. There's an avoidance mechanism that a lot of us use, and that's planning avoidance. So in other words, I'm going to get started someday after I get everything in line, after I get all my ducks in a row, after I figured out everything, after I have it all laid out, I'm going to get started. Well, the problem is that's a doom loop, because you're always, well, I need to take some more time, and I need to learn more about this concept. I need to learn more about this product. I need to learn more about this company. I need to study the sales process. And it becomes never-ending preparation. And if you're honest with yourself, it's actually an avoidance mechanism. Instead of going out and just doing the activity and like we say, creating a mess, we spend all our time trying to get everything perfect. So it's going to just go, as soon as I'm ready to go, it's just going to go perfectly. Well, I got bad news for you. It's never going to go perfectly. You're never going to know everything. You're not going to be able to perform at a high level. The only way you get better is by actually going out and doing it. So I see it all the time. People train, they study product, they organize their desk, they shuffle the papers from one side to the other, they restack and stack and then restack again to make sure that everything's stacked perfectly, so when they get on the phone, they won't actually knock the stack over. I mean, it's, we kind of make a little bit of fun of it, but it's true. I see it. I see it all the time, and I don't even have to be there sitting by you. I just see it in the conversations that we have. So point being is just focus on one simple sales concept: mortgage protection. Customer has a $100,000 mortgage. I'm going to figure out how to either pay that off or help them make payments on it for a short period of time. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to know. You say, well, there's all these other products. I'm going to miss out on sales opportunities. No, you're not. You're going to establish a client relationship. You're going to sell that product. Then you will come back in the future with new concepts as you learn them to help provide additional value for them. So make sure that you focus on just being the very best mortgage protection salesperson you can be. That's your concept right now.
Chris, I wanted to add something because it's a perfect opportunity to kind of elaborate a little bit on what you're saying there. So to Chris's point, right, I think what happens, is a lot of people end up getting wrapped around the axle about, I got to know it all before I go talk to somebody, because I don't want to appear like I don't know what I'm doing. I want to know it all and know it all. But let me tell you something, you ain't never going to know it all. Okay. And the problem with that is you can spend, like to Chris's point earlier, with some of these other companies, they stick you in a room with a whiteboard for 6 months and try to master and remember everything about every product, and you never even see a customer. Well, I'm trying to get paid and get a deposit Monday morning in my bank account. I don't have time for that. And the way Symmetry system is structured with virtual mentor and you plugging into your mentor is that you don't have to know everything about everything. All Miss Johnson on Monday 96 gives a damn about is that you know what to help her with, okay? So you need to find out what's relevant for her, run it in virtual mentor, get with your mentor about the talk track and value proposition and the wordsmithing of how to present that to the client, and go take care of Miss Johnson. Write that policy, protect her, and get paid. And then move on to the next scenario. Earn while you learn. Stop trying to dig in and procrastinate in your own world and bubble because you think you want to be a sub. Look, none of us know everything about this stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, for my personal production, last year, I wrote $387,000 on my own pen. In 2019, I wrote $342,000 on my own pen in my first year. Since I've been here and started in August of 2018, top 10 of personal producers in the entire company, the last 2 consecutive years of my 2 full years. And I'm saying that to say this. Since I've been here, I have only written 3 IULs, 2 annuities, and 3 DFL policies. Everything else that I have written is either mortgage protection, simplified term, final expense, equity protection strategy, critical period coverage, concept coverages, heart attack, cancer, stroke, children's, accidental, and some combination of those things. Some basic shit, excuse my language. Stop overcomplicating it. I haven't written these monster annuities and IULs and all this other crazy stuff. There are certain times where those are certainly relevant for customers, and you want to be able to expand your knowledge and write the right policy for the customer and what's appropriate. And those are secondary or tertiary level coverages and concepts. Stop worrying about trying to get the third base when you ain't even stepped in the batter's box yet. Get you a bunch of base hits. Since I've been here from a production perspective, everything I do every day is base hits and doubles, and occasionally I'll knock a home run and get me a triple. But most of it's base hits and doubles. But you do enough of those, and as you can see, it adds up pretty well, but you become a subject matter expert in those things that are relevant for customers, and your posture and your confidence, your swagger with the client and their belief in you transcends your level of knowledge, because you know so much about a finite amount of material that you do know everything about what's relevant for those customers. Then if you run across a situation with an IUL or annuity or something else to that extent, then you come in and learn what's appropriate to help that client with that situation when it's appropriate. Learn it when you need to. Stop trying to learn it before you get on the phones and set your first appointment. Does that make sense?
John Paul, I love what you just shared. By the way, one of our partners just said that you reminded him of Yogi Berra because you're awesome. But I'm so glad you brought that up, because while I didn't write as much my first year, it was just about 260,000. But let me just tell you, and the only reason that we share these numbers, you guys, we're not boasting. It's because we just want to let you know it's possible and where it primarily comes from. For me, it was the same, primarily mortgage protection. I wrote, a nice handful of IULs, and I did also 2 annuities in my first year. But when I first started, oh my goodness, Chris will tell you, he kept telling me to focus on one product, and he kept telling me to focus on mortgage protection, because your mortgage protection is your weekly bread and butter. That's going to pay your rent and pay your bills. Everything else, one time my annuity took like 3 months to pay out. Another one only took like a month. But the point is that you can go and help a family and get paid that same day or a couple of days later. Many of you heard me tell you not being able to pay my rent one weekend, and Chris telling me, you can go from zero to hero, Stella, get on the phones. And I did. And by Monday, I had $2,000 in my bank account because I took the action. And one last thing I just want to share with any of you, if you are struggling for whatever reason, to get started, Ashley Tarr made a great example one time. And she said, when you were first beginning, don't make it a slow, painful process, like peeling a Band-Aid off super slow. Rip it off, fail forward as fast as you can. And like Chris said, go mess it up, because that's the only way that you're going to do it. And that's okay. And Tom Chisholm always said, the answer to your problem is in the next home. What that means is just get out there, because if you feel like you're not where you want to be, it's okay. You're going to get there. The more you do it, the more repetition. So I just wanted to add that, Chris, since you had asked us to, add some commentary, because I'm a perfect example. One last thing is that when I first started, my eyes got big over IULs and annuities. And I can't tell you how many times in the very beginning I left business on the table undone, because I was not ready for it, but I wanted to go after it. And instead, I should have been consulting and taking care of that first immediate problem that they needed help with. And that was to have some kind of death benefit if they die. And that was the whole reason that they asked me to help them. But my eyes got bigger from hearing what everything else I could do in the beginning. And it took me a hard lesson to learn. So don't learn from our lessons.
Very good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. So how do we take that and put that in action? So guys, this is simple steps here. Set up your schedule. Okay, so do what I like to call time blocks. And it doesn't matter if you're full-time, this is a lot easier. If you're part-time, you have to be really disciplined. Basically, what time blocks are, this is the block of time where I'm going to do dials, whether that's daily, so every day from 3 to 5 or from 5 to 7, I'm going to do dials. And then I'm going to do my appointments in this time block. And again, it may be you dial one day and run appointments the next. Maybe you dial in the morning, you run appointments in the evening. Whatever that is, and only you know your schedule, but set those time blocks and then don't deviate. That is your schedule. Be slave to your schedule. And the big problem is a lot of times we get to dial time and like, well, this is, what, I need to focus on some other things here. I need to go shuffle some more papers on my desk. I need to take care of other things. Dial time is dial time, appointment time is appointment time, and nothing else happens in that. The exception is during your appointment time, if you do not have appointments, so let's say you're setting out appointments on the hour, and you have appointments 5, 6, 7, 8 is your appointment times, but you have a gap at 5 o'clock because you didn't get an appointment set. Guess what? That now became dial time. Or you had appointments set at 5, 6, and 7, and 5 o'clock didn't show up for whatever reason. They no-showed you. You just gained an extra hour of dial time. So if you're brand new, you're new into production, there's really only one rule. You're either running to appointments or you're dialing to set appointments. And if you don't have a set appointment set, then you go back to dialing to set appointments. That's it. Okay. So block your time. Be slave to that calendar, and then dial, set appointments, and repeat. Specialize in one, especially if you're starting out, one company. Just focus on one company. For most of you, as soon as you get contracted, it's probably going to be American Amicable. They seem to be the fastest turnaround. So and American Amicable, to be honest with you, I look at the numbers every month. American Amicable is always our highest percentage that we write with. So the good news is you're actually getting contracted with the company that we write the most business with. So why complicate the process? Write all your business through that company. You say, well, what happens if I get a client that doesn't fit in? Well, if they don't fit in, they don't fit in. We'll figure that out. But don't, again, this is where the trap comes. Well, I've got to have all these extra companies. I got to be able to write and go out and quote the market, yada, yada, yada. This is where you have to specialize. So, what happens if they ask me a question that I don't know how to answer? And this is something that we've kind of drifted away a little bit from. Some of those have been around for a little while. or we'll remember this, but it's something we need to get back to, and it's what we call our 911 system, our emergency system. You get a question that you don't know how to answer. The client says, "Oh, I forgot to tell you about XY disease, disease, warts on the brain or whatever," and you're like, "Well, I've never even heard of that. What do I do with that?" That's where those of us who've been in the business for a while come in. That's why this system works so well, your support system. So you shoot a text to your mentor, whether it be your team leader, your agency owner, 911. You text 911. That's our code that you're in an appointment right now, and you just got a roadblock that you're not sure how to navigate. Okay, and whatever it could be, whatever stops the appointment, you reach out to us, and we'll give you a call, and we'll be on the phone helping you walk through that process. In too many times, we'll talk to somebody after the fact. Well, I had this client and something happened, and so the business didn't go through. And we're sitting there looking at it, and we recognize what could have gone differently, but we can't, and we'll tell you what could have gone differently, but it's after the fact. It's hard to get that momentum. It's hard to get that client back on the line. So let us help you while you're in the call itself. So make sure you hit a roadblock, text 911 to your mentor. We'll jump on a call with you. And I think one of the things a lot of times that prevents people from taking action, and again, what people want to sit around and spend all their time studying and trying to come up with all the answers, is it's an ego thing. We don't want to look stupid. We don't want to look like we don't have all the answers. And that's a problem. That's a big problem in sales in general. Doesn't matter what product I can tell you, if you're trying to be the expert knowledge, subject matter expert knowledge, I could tell you that that's one of the reasons why some people struggle in sales, because they want to be able to blurt out everything about every product and know it forward and backwards. And they think if they overwhelm the client with just this wealth of knowledge, that client is just going to be so amazed at their depth of knowledge that they're going to buy. Guys, this is a connection business. You could know absolutely nothing about the product and the services, but if you make that connection and just do your best to find the right product that fits, I guarantee you will have success, and you will put that client in a great situation. Because all the companies that we work with, you think about it, you look at the list of companies, we only work with A-rated companies. Well, if we only work with A-rated companies, what does it say about their products? All their products are good. So that's why it doesn't, yes, it matters to a certain degree, but it doesn't matter to the level that a lot of times people think it does as to, which company we write. Really, you can focus on a specific company, write all your business through that company, and be doing the very best job for that client. So again, like I said earlier, make a customer first, make a client connection first, and then we can come back and add to their portfolio. That's the whole point of this lead system, is to help us establish connection, help that person with an initial product. And whether it's us or whether it's the QMS program, which, guys, I know all of you don't really understand it because you haven't seen it work for you yet, but I can't tell you how powerful that's going to be over the next 12 months as that thing gets ramped up. The clients that you're putting in the database right now are going to pay you many times over through that program alone. But again, even for those of you who want to be hands-on, do that yourself. Get that first application on the books, make that person a client, and you'll be able to help them. You'll be able to help them in the future with other stuff. So,
yeah, Chris, to that same point, because I know there's a lot of new people on the call, and something that I've kind of been drawn to ever since I've been doing sales, and that really transcends product or industry. And to your point about people wanting to baffle people with information and details so they're impressed or enamored with their knowledge. Look, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You have to connect with people. And if you're real and genuine and people know you honestly have their best interest at heart, there's a lot of things that you can make mistakes on and they'll forgive you because they know you're trying to do right by them. And you can come back and find that information, and we'll help you with that, is the point that Chris is trying to make, right? And the point about specific carriers and such like that, narrowing that down, 70-ish% of all the business that I write is with American Amicable. It's a great company with living benefits, and you can't go wrong there. And so narrow that down, so you can master, certain options for the client without trying to compare the same kind of product across 4 or 5 different companies. That also helps you when you're dealing with underwriting. It helps you when you're dealing with following up and understanding the applications or the EAP process. All those things, it's just going to get you better because you have repetitions and multiple at bats with the same carrier and same product. So you learn quicker, honestly.
Yeah, there's a sales training organization I worked with there some time ago that actually did some scientific study on this knowledge base, and it's interesting. They came up with a theory they called the dummy curve, and basically, it's simply stated is when somebody comes in brand new, they know nothing, they're excited, but they know nothing. So when they meet with a client, that energy comes out. They're like, "Yeah, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you, client." Client asks a question, they say, I don't know, but let me find out that answer for you. So that creates a relationship where the client appreciates that person going to work for them. The problem is, as they become more knowledgeable, they get all this information in their head. And so now when they meet the next client, that client says, "Well, I have a question," and then all of a sudden they puke all over them with information, and it actually pushes the client away. So the dummy curve says you start out not knowing what you don't know, and you're, dummy, air quotes, but you're very successful. And we see this all the time. We'll see brand new people come right out of the gate and start writing applications. And then as they get more knowledge, we'll actually see their performance go down because they're getting to know too much. And now they start, here's XYZ company. I'm going to study them. I'm going to start adding that. I'm going to start adding this. I'm going to start adding that. And all of a sudden, at some point, they reach a level where they're just overwhelming their client in conversation about a lot of stuff that doesn't connect with the client. They're not connecting with the client. They're just trying to blurt information out and hoping that they're so enamored and impressed with their knowledge base that I have to work with this person. And so the dummy curve says, it's like a bell curve. Once you get that amount of knowledge, you need to drop back down and become a dummy again. You still know the knowledge, but you now have to pretend like or act like you don't know the knowledge. You have to forget that knowledge as you're meeting with the client, because again, that returns you to that interaction phase where you ask questions and you find out what's important to them. And then you take that information that you do know, you do have that knowledge base, and you help match that client up with the product and service that fits their needs. So keep that in mind, guys. I'm going to move ahead here because we're going to run out of time here if we don't keep rolling. So what happens if you've been in the business and it just seems like you're stuck in mud, you haven't got going, maybe you did get going and kind of things fell off, just wheels are spinning and things aren't happening. A lot of the same fundamentals, but there's some things that we can do for those of you who do have, again, kind of that knowledge base. And one of those traps are you know too much. You may know too much. It's causing you to actually fall into the trap of inaction. So again, one of the big things that we see is planning avoidance. So we use planning as a way to avoid doing the activity. And you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be looking at your habits and your activities. Are you using planning avoidance as a way to avoid doing the activity that's going to get you success? So, and again, coming back to you know too much, be intentional about getting simple. So I go back to that time blocks, and this is a big thing that I see. Somebody that's been in the business for a while, they have a tendency to get a little bit overwhelmed because now not only do you have appointment setting and appointment running, but you have client follow-up, you have underwriting that you're checking in with, you're recruiting, you're trying to build a team, you're trying to attend all the calls, you're trying to get in extra training. Those are all good things, but we have a tendency to do those haphazardly. And that could be a big killer of success and production. So it's the same fundamentals. It's got to be time blocks. This is my dial time, and I don't do anything else in dial time. This is my appointment time. I don't do anything else in appointment time. This is my underwriting follow-up. And again, now we've added new elements into it. Now, underwriting follow-up should not take you hours a day. If it is, you're doing it wrong. Well, and we can talk about that. We can train on how to do that. It's actually a very quick and easy and simple process. this is my appointment time for interviews, for building my team. Everything goes into time blocks, and you have to be very disciplined with your schedule. Now, if you're somebody like me who kind of has a tendency to, you know, I'm not good with time discipline. I'll be just quite frank with you. So there are times where I kind of plan. I plan inefficiencies in my schedule, or times where I don't have things set, but it's kind of my planned time to be all over the map a little bit with whatever project I want to work on at that time, or whatever that mood hits me at that time. Okay, but that still kind of has to be baked in. Otherwise, what will happen is you will operate in that mindset all the time, and trust me, that's not a good place to be in. So and again, so we really want to talk about simplifying. If you've been here and if you're stuck in a rut, or you're trying to get going again, or maybe you've had a bad week, bad month, whatever, you've got to really draw back down and force yourself to become simple again. One of the things that as you get into the business and you gain more knowledge on products and companies, it's easy to become overwhelmed and try to every client be looking at 10 different companies and 10 different products you're spending too much time. So use the tools of the system. Virtual Mentor is great. You know, that's why we have it. It narrows it down to 3 options, not necessarily the 3 best options, just 3 options they're most likely to qualify for. And I would say narrow it down even further. Force yourself to sell 1 or 2 companies. Like we get back to American Amicable, some of our foundation companies, Americo, Mutual of Omaha. Focus on the core company and become a specialist in 1 or 2 companies. If you want to take it a step further, and for those of you who've got multiple contracts now, you could even simplify this process even further by going with an instant decision company as much as you possibly can. So we have instant decision with Americo. Americo, all their products, both term and whole life, but I would focus on the whole life with them, because I think that that's where they really shine. So if you're using whole life either for final expense or critical period, use Americo, that Eagle Premier. That's an instant decision product. No underwriting follow-up. You're going to know if you have an issue with that client. They weren't, you know, like John Paul says, they forgot to tell you about the other medicine cabinet. You know, they told you about the 1 aspirin a day that they were taking, and not the 57 others that they were taking to basically keep them ticking every day. But you're going to know that right then and there on the call, and then pivot if you need to another product or service. So go with an instant decision. John Hancock is an instant decision term product. Now, both American Amicable and Mutual of Omaha have some instant decision, not as instant. You'll find a lot of times it gets kicked back to underwriting, which is okay. But again, if you really want to simplify this thing, make it super easy for yourself, focus only on those instant decision products. That will help streamline your business. Guys, one of the things that I think we use it to our advantage when we're setting appointments, the label broker. I'm a broker. I can go out and find you the best deal. But the problem is we use it as a little bit of a crutch for ourselves. And it actually becomes a trap, because we think, well, I've got to shop the market on every client. And one of the big problems I see is we have people that want to sell on price. And guys, you've heard me say this before, but if you sell on price, you'll lose on price, because there will always be somebody down the road who will come out and be able to beat your price. You know, I don't care if you go out and you find the very cheapest product you possibly can, somebody will still eventually beat it. So if you sell on price, you lose on price. You will lose that business at some point. That's why you have to build value. I'll never forget, I'll tell you a quick story here. A client I met with here about 3 years ago went out. She was around 70. She told me when I sat down with her, well, I've got $100,000 term, and it's only costing me, and I forget how much it was. It was ridiculously cheap. It was like $50 a month. And if you guys have been around for a while, anybody that's been priced anything yet, you know that's crazy cheap. And I listened to it. I'm like, no. But she was, you know, hey, this is a great product. I don't even think I need anything you have. Okay. Well, do you mind if I look at that? So she was kind enough to go ahead and bring the policy out. I flipped it open. And guys, and I forget the technical term for this. but it's basically a stair-step product, meaning it starts out at a fixed price, but the premiums reset every 5 years. And she had it for about a year or so. And I looked at it and I said, do you know what you have here? Oh, yes, it's $100,000 terms. I'm only paying X amount of dollars a month. I said, yeah, you are until 5 years from now, or 4 years from now at this point. And I opened it right to the page that showed all those policies, guys. Every policy tells what it's going to do in the future. I don't care what it is. If it's whole life, it's going to tell you what cash value is every year. If it's term, it's going to tell you what the premium is every year. And in year 5, that policy jumped, I don't remember the exact numbers, but about 3 to 4 times what they sold it to her for. And I said, can you afford this when this resets? And she was shocked. She said, no, there's no way. I said, so what are you going to do? Well, I won't be able to keep it. So what are you going to do for insurance at that point? Well, I have to buy something else. Do you know how much that's going to cost you 5 years later? Now you're 75 trying to buy insurance, and let's cross your fingers and hope you don't have any health between now and then. And so the reason I said that is somebody came in and sold that on price. And guys, I will tell you, I replaced that term policy with a whole life policy with a much lower face value that cost more money. You hear what I said? It cost more money, but it was a better value because as we went through, that term policy was going to, I mean, look, the only way that term policy did anything for her is if she died in the next 5 years. You might as well go to the casinos and start, playing the tables. That's exactly what you're doing. And except you're playing a life and death game with the insurance company. They're betting that you're not going to die, and you're betting that you are going to die. Well, that's kind of a silly bet to take on your part. So my point there is you sell on price, you lose on price. Here's the problem. Here's the problem I see with too many agents. You sell based on your pocketbook. Well, I can't afford that. So there's no way that this client's going to buy that. Or I'm going to shop the market and I'm going to find the absolute dirt cheapest product. And that's what I always do. Guys, price is only a problem in the absence of value. And that's where we get too hung up and I've got to be the cheapest. If you're the cheapest, you're the worst. I'm sorry. I just say that. I would tell clients right up front, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I am a broker. Yes, I could go out and find the cheapest product, but I'm not going to. I would tell them right up front, I'm not going to sell you the cheapest thing. Most likely I could, but I probably won't. Here's why. Do you buy the cheapest of anything? Well, people get it. I ask them, with that car sitting on the drive, is that the cheapest car you could have bought? Well, they say, well, I got a good deal on it. Yeah, but no, is that the cheapest car? Because does it have crank windows, a vinyl floor, and no AC and no radio? Well, no, it's got leather, power windows, it's reclining bucket seats, all this. Okay, so you didn't buy the cheapest. You bought the best value. That's what we're going to do here today. Okay, so sell on value. Don't sell with your pocketbook or what you think is expensive. And don't sell bells and whistles. Again, this is a problem. We get too much product knowledge. We think we're going to overwhelm them with just this vast book of knowledge, and they're just going to be so blown away that they will have to do business with me because I know, more than anybody in insurance. So, and don't get me wrong. I mean, bells and whistles are great, and they're a value for the client. But at the end of the day, you have to peel the onion. You have to get to their why. Why is this important to you? What happens if you don't have that? How does that impact your family? What will happen to them if we don't do something today? Guys, this has got to be a deep dive process. And again, so I think what happens is, and I know what happens, I don't think I know what happens, and people that get stuck is they're making it too complicated. At the end of the day, and I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again, if you got everything wrong about the sales process, I mean, you totally screwed this thing up. But if you had a very good why conversation, you get down deep with them, you understand, and that's a tough one. I'll be honest with you. It's probably one of the toughest things for people to do because you're going to be laying open some emotional wounds there. You will have people who will literally cry, will argue with their spouse in front of you. Things will get emotional, but that's where you've got to get. And if you're not getting there, if you're wondering why you're stuck and you know you're avoiding the phone, avoiding a call because you feel like you're just striking out in every home, I guarantee you it always points back to you're overcomplicating the process. So get back to basics. Block your time. Do your activity. Do your dials. Do your appointments. Do them in that order. Always be dialing to set appointments. When you don't have appointments, run the appointments. When you do run the appointments, focus on 1 or 2 products. In fact, I strongly encourage that you take a look at anything, you know, make a list of your instant approval products. Drive everything you can to those companies. They're great products. They're great companies. You won't have any problem, or you won't have any problem sleeping. You know, there's nothing wrong with presenting that to your clients. You're going to be doing them a favor. You're going to be doing yourself a favor. You know, kind of getting back briefly to this price thing. You know, Eileen Balmer made a great statement to me one day. She said, you know, here's the problem with if you're selling the cheapest thing. A lot of times those hurt your business too, because a lot of times those are more labor intensive and they pay less. You've got to stay in business too. You got to think about you're running a business. You have to be here a year from now, 5 years from now to help that client when they need you. So if you're trying just to chase the cheapest thing, that's probably not the best for them anyway, to be honest with you. If we really kind of break it down and look what's in those policies, I mean, they're okay, they're good, there's nothing wrong with them, but there's probably things that they could do better that cost a little more. So don't get caught chasing selling on price. And then lastly, focus on that connection. At the heart of this entire thing, do the activity, make the connection. If you just do those 2 things, you will be successful. That will get you out of the stuck bubble. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. John Paul, Stella, do you have anything to add to wrap this up?
That's great stuff there. I just wanted to thank you for, you know, really kind of getting us back to basics. I mean, I think that's very important. You know, it's all about the fundamental blocking and tackling in this business. I did want to make one announcement as a reminder. It was posted on Crew. Me and my team, we are doing another Zoom room call night tonight. The details were posted on Crew, so come join us. I will be a little late getting to that myself. I've got to drop my daughter at the airport, but I'll be back. And Mr. Eric Sullivan has been kind enough to take lead on that for the team this evening to start us off. And you know, come bring your leads, get your phones ready, be ready to dial and set some appointments and such. But the details were posted on Crew. I just want to remind that. And you know, doing that for my team, but everybody's invited. Certainly, we had quite a few people on last week. There was probably maybe 25 or 30 attendees last week across the board from this team at large. So come one, come all.
Very good. Stella?
Oh, I was just going to add, for anybody brand new, to simplify it, the best way that I could think of is just be more curious. Just be more curious. You know, the times that I talked more is when I helped less. So the more that you listen with your families and talk less, the more people you're going to help. And just be more curious, and that'll help you. That's all I wanted to add.
Very good. Last thing, guys. Please. I put an announcement on the Crew the other day, but we need to get. We've got a huge list of people attending conference, but I don't know who's going to whose. So make sure that you reach out to myself or John Paul. Give us your list of who you've got attending, so we can cross-reference our list. And I want to be able to put some leaderboards up. I want to be able to start leaderboarding in all of the month of March. We do have a contest for that. First place, big screen TV or laptop, your choice. Second place gets whatever first place didn't take, and then third place, lead credit. So, come on, let's get in the game. So, But yeah, do get us a list of who you've got coming, and so we can cross-reference that and make sure that we have we can put that up on leaderboard. So, all right, guys, we're gonna shut it down, let everybody get out, finish the month strong, last day for turn in, and then let's hit March rolling hard. I will say, just kind of on your radar, April is a 5-week turn in. So think about if I hit March hard, and if that's a month of qualifying, April gives you that extra runway to get some extra qualifying in. So take advantage of these 2 months coming up, guys. So get out, let's hit it, let's go get it.